Hello, this is Lisa Swank, and the team challenge for the designer team came out today on YouTube. And you know, I have several of Gina's stamps, and I wanted to participate in that, but for some reason it snuck up on me. I am so behind on everything right now, but I wanted to, you know, last year Gina and Cindy Utters, Gina Ahrens, they did the exploration of me, and before Cindy had done an I Am book, and Gina had done her Smackdown negativity book. So I kind of did a play on the, hopefully I could zoom this in, on the two from before, but they decided to do it together. And these little stamps right here are Gina Ahrens. Let me zoom back out. And I discovered when I was decorating this new book, well, actually I started it last year, so I'm adding to it, but I used some of my drop paper to cover it with. You know, I collaged, you know, my paper that I mess up, you know, on my desk, and so I collaged that down, but I soon figured out that it was a little too bumpy for stamping on. And the team challenge for the month of January is borders. And when I tried stamping the face down the first time, I went over it with a pen because it didn't quite make a good, and that's because the collage material is so bumpy. So what I did is, I'll show you right quick, maybe on one of the borders. Where's my ink pad at? Oh dear. Of course I misplaced it. The one that I was using my stays on is getting a little dried out, and I'm gonna have to let me do the face, because I'll show you what I'm talking about. I thought I could just pop on here real quick and show. And see, this is deli paper, and I bought a whole little box of it, and since that's so bumpy, I decided, well, maybe if I do it on deli paper and then collage the deli paper down, and it definitely works out a lot better. And just gonna, I'm restamping this image here. And as all I could find was my stays on ink, and it's a little dried out, so that's not going to work out to show you guys. I have no idea. Oh, there it is. Sheesh. Right? The camera goes on and you can't find anything because you feel nervous because the camera's on. So this is a nice juicy pad. My other stays on ink is getting a little dried out, so I used this little archival ink from Ranger. And let me stamp that on the my head's probably in the way. And I like to hold it down for a few minutes so it has time to adhere to the Okay. Yeah, see, that's a much better image than the dried out ink pad. And then I just cut out the image. You know, and so depending, you know, if I wanted to, I could, and the other thing that I did was I wanted the girl to be kind of looking up, you know, because it's, you want to look up at life, not look down. And I thought this image that Gina had done, this is supposed to be on borders, but I'm kind of going over this little trick with you. So is how I, like I said, I had stamped this side before just on my collage paper, and it didn't do a good take, so I went over it with a waterproof ink pen, and then I decided, well, that wasn't as crisp as I wanted it, so I re-stamped it on a piece of deli paper and put it over. That's why that one seems so dark. But to get her going the other way, you know, I stamped on this side, and all I did was invert it, because the deli paper kind of disappears on the, I'm not going to put her on here, but if I wanted to, I could just collage her on there. But I kind of like the colors peeking through her face on the back of the book, because when it closes, it'll, you know, be like this. And anyways, so the border stamps that are in the ones that I have, and you know, you can substitute a lot of these for borders. You know, you just there's the border stamps, and she's got these for sale in our Etsy shop. And so what I did is I stamped a bunch of the smaller ones onto the paper. Now I'm not going to make you guys sit through me gluing every one of these down on the edge, but I'm going to clip it out, and then I'm going to collage it on the edge of my book, and then I'll pop back on here and show you guys how it is. You know, if I take the little border stamp and try to stamp it on this collaged material, it's too bumpy and I'm not going to get a good, so I put it on deli paper, and I'm going to clip out the borders and collage it down, and then I'll be back. That was a lot of explanation for the borders, but anyways, I'll be back in a minute. Okay, I'm back, and I did quite a bit more on my book. Maybe I don't know how well that could be seen. Maybe I'll zoom in just a little. I'll find the zoom button. Oh, wrong way, I guess. There we go. Maybe that's, I don't know if that's any better or not. Maybe a little further. I wanted this to be nice and short. There we go. And so I got all of the edges down, and I will be taking an ink pad or some kind of distressed ink or something to the very edges, but I want to wait until after I decide whether or not I'm gonna doodle in some colors on the borders. But I did glue down some nice encouraging words like create and happiness, imagine. And the possibility was not in the stamp any of the stamp sets, it was a digital download of, that's Gina's writing, but it wasn't one of her stamps. I think it was a digital download that I got in the group, in her group. But I wanted to kind of point out some of the stamps. Now, in one of her new, well, the bird stamps here, these are one of my favorites. But see, this little bird sitting on her hair is very small, and the great thing is when Gina designed this year's stamps, see a little bird that's on the elephant's ear? It's just a miniature of this one, and so that's what I used. I just stamped it out. I stamped it out on tissue paper and collaged it onto her hair, and that worked out pretty well. And part of my cover is, you know, butterflies change from one thing into a beautiful butterfly. They change from a caterpillar to a chrysalis to a beautiful, and it's all about change. And so is what I put on here is my interpretation with Gina stamps, because she's designed every one of the stamped images that's on here. Is the dragonfly that's here, I cut off the wings and the antennae and put here for the caterpillar. And then, you know, this is supposed to represent exploring and changing into this, you know, it's just metaphorically, is that the right word for that? It's to interpretate change and the possibilities. You know, imagine the possibilities, imagine the happiness. And that's what this book is all about, that Cindy Utter from Artsy Endeavors and Gina Ahrens, A Life of Art and Self-Expression, Facebook groups. They are doing this book, and it's a journal, and it comes out, I think, around the 15th of every month. But you have to be a member of one of their groups, of course. And it's called, the journal is called Explorations of Me. And I'm participating in that, or I'm going to participate in it. And so I decided that since the design team in Gina Ahrens group were doing, you know, promoting her border stamps, that I would participate in that. And I wanted to, and it's already past my time of turning it in because I got so behind. But anyways, this is what I did, and I'll probably be doing some doodling in with my jelly pins and coloring in, and maybe when that's done I'll just post a picture in one of the groups or all of the groups to show you what I did. So this was my interpretation of what to do with the border stamps. Again, you can find all of these stamps in Gina Ahrens group. She has several, or Etsy shop, excuse me, and I'll link that below, and to the Facebook groups. But she's made a lot of different stamps. See, this is the border stamp that I used, and that's the birds. And there's the face that I used and some of the words. that I used. Here's the bee and moth. I think that's a moth. And the butterfly and the dragonfly. I might not be in screen there. And then of course the little teeny bird right there. It was so cute. So I wanted to participate, and so this is my video, and hope to see you in the groups. Bye now.